Welcome to the World of Tennis, presented by BNP Paribas. The scoop from inside and outside the lines. You'll be center court for some of the most insightful and entertaining stories from around the globe through the wit and wisdom of our host, Justin Gimelstob. World of Tennis will take you inside the training room with Dr. Vijay Vad, a physician for many ATP players and one of America's most respected doctors. You'll get the best read on the tours with Tennis Magazine in our weekly roundtable, and exclusive lessons from the legend with 8 Grand Slams under his belt, Ivan Lendl. Watch all this and more coming up right now on the World of Tennis, presented by BNP Paribas.
Welcome to the World of Tennis, presented by BNP Paribas. In today's show, we have a unique opportunity. We're going to sit down with the former US Open champion, and he's been top 10 in the world for the past 9 years, Andy Roddick. Also, in case you missed the BNP Paribas showdown, we'll break down the semifinals. Venus Williams taking on Svetlana Kuznetsova, and Kim Clijsters against Ana Ivanovic. We'll go to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, for the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, where there's controversy and the first seed gets upset because he's moved ahead in the schedule because of inclement weather. And for the first time since 1973, no American male will reside in the top 10. All that and more this week on the World of Tennis.
This segment brought to you by Wilson, #1 in tennis.
It was an interesting week in Washington, D.C. at the Legg Mason Tennis Classic, filled with upsets and interesting twists. The top seed Tomas Berdych lost to Xavier Malisse after weather delays forced an accelerated schedule. Berdych claimed the tournament schedule in D.C. was too demanding and didn't leave enough time between matches.
But what's the reason when we finished like almost midnight to start in not even 12 hours? I mean, that's... Or I was feeling like that I'm still sleeping, because after yesterday's finishing that late and then, starting today like 12 o'clock again. I mean, I don't even have like 12 hours to sleep, rest and go to play another match.
In the doubles final, Berdych's disappointment continued as he and Czech partner Roddick lost in a final set match tiebreak. The Bohemian and American team of Mark Knowles and Marty Fish had to fight off a match point in the second set tiebreak before winning in dramatic fashion in a final set match tiebreak. This is quite possibly the only saving grace for the Americans coming out of the Legg Mason, as American favorite Andy Roddick fell from the top 10 in the ATP rankings, dropping from 9 to 11 when he lost his match to Gilles Simon in the third round. This is the first time since computerized rankings were established in 1973 that an American is not in the ATP top 10. So how did this all fall onto the shoulders of Andy Roddick? Why is it all his responsibility? What about Isner, Querrey, Marty Fisher, James Blake have a resurgence? Hopefully, the glut of Americans in the top 10 will be the aberration, not the norm. Here's where the top Americans sit in the ATP World Tour rankings. Roddick is at number 11. Wimbledon history maker John Isner, the marathon man, sits at 19. Sam Querrey, fresh off his win at the Farmers Classic, is 21. And unfortunately, James Blake is now outside the top 100. Sam Querrey believes the formula to getting in the top 10 is quite simple. Sounds a lot like Al Davis. Just win, baby.
I'm going to have to pick up my game at the Masters Series and Grand Slams, the big events where, the bulk of the points are generated, and I'm going to have to play a little better at those events and go a little deeper. And as far as my game goes, I need to work on my return to serve and, I think my backhand. Those are the two things that really need the most work right now.
While this is all big news to Americans, other players have a different take on it.
You're gonna have a slump sometimes, and it could turn quickly. He could play quarters or semis at the U.S. and be back in it. So I don't think the U.S. is in any trouble right now.
The current top 10 does include many of the regulars, but even in the rankings, it's a new world, with Roger Federer behind Nadal and Djokovic at number 3. And the Legg Mason shows that anything can happen in this new world of parity in the sport of tennis, and why the Olympus US Open Series is such non-stop entertainment.
I don't know what to say. I mean, for sure, our sport at this stage is very tough. It's very competitive, and I think it takes a lot to be top 10 today. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of things. So I think it's not an easy thing. But I didn't know it was the first time since 1970. That's a long time.
It was a tough week for sure, especially when 117th ranked David Nalbandian comes out of nowhere to take home the Legg Mason Tennis Classic title. This is the first time this year that a player outside the top 100 has taken home an ATP title. Returning from injuries, the Argentine beat out Baghdadis and moved up to 45th on the ATP list. He shows no signs of stopping or slowing down as he heads towards the US Open.
This segment was brought to you by Wilson, #1 in tennis. For more information, go to wilson.com.
Well, we could all benefit from listening to the vast knowledge of the great Ivan Lendl, especially the top seeds in Washington, D.C. this week, where upsets were aplenty. But this week on Ivan Lendl's Tennis Tips, learn how to most successfully benefit from an effective shot.
Tennis Tips from Ivan Lendl is brought to you by the Champions Academy.
To me, a tennis match is like a puzzle made up of different shots. You need to work on all the pieces of the puzzle in order to control the point, which is the key to the game. Only then can you let the pieces gel together and complete the puzzle to win the match. Hi, I'm Ivan Lendl, and today we're going to work on reacting to our good shots. It is really important when you hit a good shot that you react to it properly. You get attacked, you hit a really good passing shot, do not wait and see what's going to happen. The chances are, once you hit a good passing shot, that the opponent will be stretched or it's under his feet. If he just gets the racket on it, it's likely that it's going to come over, and you have to be ready. It's unlikely he will hit a great shot from it. But if it's a bad shot and you're not ready, you're probably not going to get it, or you're not going to get there in time. Same thing when you're rallying and all of a sudden you hit a good shot in the rally, which gets the opponent in trouble. That's how the pieces of the puzzle come together. You have to be able to react to it. As soon as you see that you hit a good shot, you have to recognize it and move into the position to take advantage of it. Some people call it instinct, but it can be learned. If you admire your shot and you're not prepared for the next possible shot, it's a mistake.
Tennis Tips from Ivan Lendl is brought to you by the Champions Academy, where greatness happens. For more information, visit champacademy.com. Coming up, we hear from Andy Roddick. And later, this year's BNP Paribas Showdown. We'll give you the highlights on the semifinals as 4 dominating women fought for the Billie Jean King Cup. The World of Tennis, presented by BNP Paribas, is brought to you by BNP Paribas, the bank for a changing world. Wilson, #1 in tennis. Tennis Magazine. Get exclusive coverage online at tennis.com. Ivan Lendl's Champions Academy. For more information, visit champacademy.com. And by the BNP Paribas Showdown. 4 legends, 2 epic rivalries, 1 night of tennis. Tickets on sale September 27th.